Recording in progress. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a Real Hunting podcast. It's been a little bit since we've all got together in the same place virtually. We're in the same Zoom room, whatever that means. And we're going to be coming to you with a Real Hunting podcast. We've been chatting a little bit, had some ideas about what we wanted to talk to you guys about. And we came up with a good idea that Ben Sandal's going to tell you about right now.
Yeah. So with, thanks for that. Thanks for doing that. So with the draw results coming out across different states, Arizona is next week. Utah, I think, is always behind the curve, but they will be April. Colorado, all the Western states, draw results are going to be coming out. So we want to talk about kind of things to prepare for when you find out that you get a tag. If you are lucky enough to get Arizona, or actually really any of the Western states for elk and deer, just kind of go through different strategies, whether or not you want to go hire an outfitter, or I actually just recently got off the phone with a guy that wanted to do a scouting package. And so me doing a little bit of guiding, there's all sorts of different options out there and available to people. And we're just kind of going to go through and discuss different things. If you are a DIY guy, there are a lot of resources out there. But yeah, that's kind of what we're going to talk about today.
Is that Shed Crazy's book on the wall?
Is what?
Is that Shed Crazy's book on the wall over there?
No,
that's my wife's buck. Even though it's a 2x3, you would think it would be Shed Crazy's.
That's my bed in the background.
A 2x2.
That is his bed in the background.
That's where I stay when I go to Ben's house.
We sleep in the same bed.
Yep.
Big spoon.
The zip up bed.
Yeah, and actually, it was some of the first out-of-state hunts I ever went on were in Arizona with Ben Sandal. So, I mean, talk about a segue right there. So
yeah, I'd like to know that. I don't know, like, I know you grew up in Utah, but like, when did you start hunting outside of Utah?
So the first, maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago or so.
You were shed hunting Arizona for like 15, 20 years.
Oh yeah, I've been shed hunting it forever.
Actually hunting Arizona, I think it's been longer than 5 years, dude.
What about like Colorado? Like, you haven't hunted out of state since up until 5 years ago?
Yeah, like maybe a little bit before, but I'm pretty new to the game, really.
Dang.
So
I've only hunted Utah. I hunted Utah back in like 2006. That's when I started hunting Utah.
Yeah, and
sorry, go ahead.
I just saying I got a super unrealistic introduction to what the Arizona over-the-counter archery was all about too, because the first year I ever hunted it, I came down and like the first day I saw like a 170 buck and I almost killed it, and then I like didn't get a shot, and then I went and hunted with Ben and I killed a buck like the next day. So I'm like, oh, this is easy.
So Sandal, you haven't hunted Colorado for years? I thought you've been going.
Well, yeah, I did actually hunt. I was more or less just going on anybody's hunt that they had. I was just more interested in going.
I'd consider that hunting though.
Filming whatever hunt that I could go on. But me personally, like, I think my first tag in Colorado was 2010, 2011. So it's been a while. I mean, hunting. I was going to New Mexico when I was in high school, just hunt with just filming for my uncle, really. I just go video. Yeah. That's all I wanted to do.
That's nuts to me, being from Texas. Like, if I had 4 or 5, if I was surrounded by states that had over-the-counter elk, deer, whatever, and back in the day there was over-the-counter elk or over-the-counter deer in Colorado. I don't know how long ago that was, but I'd be all over that.
The opportunities way back then but I mean, it's way better than they are now, just because how competitive it's gotten. But like when I was growing up, I mean, antelope, for instance, in Arizona, you're looking at 30 years for a tag, putting in for 30 years. It's something that you can get over the counter in Wyoming. Well, when I was growing up, my dad was like, no, there's no reason to hunt antelope or bighorn sheep or who cares about buffalo, like all these other opportunities, like to hunt stuff that might take a while to get drawn. Well, when I finally, I'm 18 years old and want to start hunting everything, and I'm starting from scratch on bonus points. So it kind of set me back. Yeah. Still to this day, my dad won't put in for antelope.
That's crazy.
or for bighorn or nothing. He just like elk and deer. That's all he cared to hunt, just elk and deer.
Yeah. Now that we all got together and blew up the hunting world, it's hard to get tags these days.
Right. Yeah. It's Mike's fault, probably. Well, my dad was never like wanted to go out of state either. Like they hunted the strip like several times when I was a kid, but by the time I got old enough to like even go hunting with them, my dad was on the tail end of wanting to go hunting at all. So like we just never hunted out of state until I started having like hanging out with Ben and Eric and a bunch of those guys who were doing it regularly and started learning how to from them.
So as far as y'all can remember, like back in the day, what was it like to draw a strip tag or a kaibab tag or the best unit in Utah? What was it like back then?
I drew like the best elk unit, or one of the top units in Utah in like 2000. And it was cool because like, even as like far as we didn't really hunt how we hunt it now, we didn't really know how to glass or whatever, but we could still go over and find tons of bulls. We could be on bugling bulls all the time. The quality was insane. I ended up killing like a mid 340s bull basically from the road. So it was easy. My dad had that tag, I think the year before me or 2 years before me. And like, we saw a legit 400-inch bull on that hunt. So the opportunity used to be pretty insane.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, as far as like the draw goes, how have you seen the draw change over the years as far as points and just how many years it takes to draw these good units?
Well, every year there's point creep in Arizona, actually anywhere that have bonus points. Every year goes through, and point creep means that you have max points, and then the next year that max point number, say, goes from like when I was a kid, the strip or like 12B up on the kaibab. I mean, a late tag was like 9 points, 8, 9 points, which is still a lot, but now it's like 18, 19. So it's like every year that goes by, it just that point creep comes and it it takes more because more people are starting to build points, and so that max point pool gets bigger and bigger. And but yeah, I mean, I drew a late kaibab tag when I was 14, and it was like the best thing in the world, but we had no idea. I mean, I'm looking at it back now. I didn't feel this way then, but we had no idea how to hunt. Like, I mean, we just go walking around hoping to jump something.
That's
and
nuts.
little did I know that by the time that I drew a tag again, it would take, the points to just keep going up and up. And, to guarantee a tag is just getting harder and harder, especially on those trophy units. But
yeah, it's kind of scary to think what it's going to be like for our kids.
Oh yeah.
In 30 years, what it's going to, how it's going to affect their odds of drawing a good buck tag.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I tell everybody that applies, especially in Arizona, because in Arizona you can sign tags down to juniors that are direct line descendants. So, like, if your wife or your grandparents or anybody that doesn't hunt, like, I mean, this is a little secret, but you just can apply them for bonus points, and as they build points, and you're applying your kids. If they draw tags, you can have them sign those tags to your kids or whatever, and that kind of increases their chances of actually being able to hunt when they're in their youth, because that's kind of the most critical times to get them out in the woods. But so there are a few opportunities that Arizona has within the draw system to give more opportunities to the youth. But yeah, it's crazy now. It's a lot different than it was when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think my plans for my kid is just to like have him grind it out and get used to tough hunts.
That's what I say.
Because like someday maybe they'll get a good tag. They could get lucky. I got lucky. I've got lucky a couple times, but like just plan on hunting tough units and learn how to hunt. And then when you do get a good tag, like 20 years down the road, you'll be ready to kill something big.
Well, and that's what I say. I say, if you want to learn how to fly fish, go buy the crappiest fly rod at Walmart and learn how to fly fish, because when you get a good fly rod, you'd be surprised at how good you actually are. But same thing, like my daughter, she just started hunting, and yeah, we did like December late cow, and I'm like, I grinded it out, and you can grind it out too.
Right.
But even now, getting junior tags is difficult in Arizona. It's not like it was then. So, it's almost like you got to try and build points just to get junior tags. But yeah, I agree with that 100%. I've got buddies that, they're like, oh, I want my kid to love hunting. And so they find a way to get them like the most amazing elk tag, and they shoot some 380 bull their first year of hunting. And what do you know? By the time they're 16 years old, they're like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Too easy.
Yeah. They accomplished all
I agree
the
with
stuff
that.
right from the get-go.
Yep.
So getting back on topic, say you're from the East Coast and you've never been on a Western hunt, you finally draw after putting in for a couple years, draw a decent unit. What's the next steps?
Well, I think that all depends on, well, one, the unit you get, but like say you get some of the, like let's say you get Arizona. The amount of resources that there are out there nowadays, like online, just understanding, you know, the websites that you can go on and just look and learn about the unit that you get. I would imagine that if you're serious about applying, you've already done the research on the unit, and then at that point, is trying to find the best time to come out and scout is what I would recommend. The number one is try to work within your schedule to make sure that you can get out and actually do scouting. If you can't, then go the route of hiring a guide, if depending on how good the tag is. But I don't know. I could never see myself hiring a guide. I'm like a DIY guy, but I wouldn't have any problem paying for a scouting package if I couldn't make the time to get out. And
even though you are a guide. So
yeah.
So you keep saying scouting package. Explain that a little bit and what people can expect, and what they can expect to pay just on an average scale. Let's just go with an elk hunt. They draw an average unit elk tag. They call you and say, "Hey, I want a scouting package." What does that include, and what is that going to run them?
Typically, scouting packages consist of, well, I used to run trail cameras, but now that's kind of out the window for Arizona. But what that entails is I would go out 2 weeks prior to the hunt and I will identify a priority, let's say bull tag. Like this is the number one bull, the one I think is most likely to kill. Number two, number three, and I give all glassing locations and pretty much give a whole game plan strategy for that opening day. Tell them
Pictures
how far
and everything.
Pictures, video, kind of everything as far as like them literally being able to show up the day before the hunt, exactly what hill to sit on and where to look and what bull you're looking for and how far of a shot to expect. That's kind of the ultimate goal for me as far as when I think somebody says a scouting package, like that's a high quality scouting packages. Some there are some lower tier scouting packages that just consist of where can I find elk, what are the good water sort, whatever, just the more the area, where you've seen bulls in the past, kind of a thing. And that's just more or less information that's zero work information, nothing that I would need to go out in the field to do. It's just more or less go over here, you'll find elk and get a shot. That's very
Right.
big. But
so what is not necessarily what you charge, but an average dude in Arizona that offers scouting packages, what can they expect to pay?
Anywhere from 900 to 2,000.
Okay.
Is probably
so that's actually a lot more reasonable than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Because to get that kind of intel going into a state that you've never been to, never been on an elk hunt, that's the hardest part is picking that spot and finding your first elk. Yep. And that takes care of a lot of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, like, one thing that's super valuable with that is that somebody who tells you like what the good access points are, that saves you so much time. When you were talking about coming out earlier and doing like a scouting trip, like that makes so much sense just to come out and learn the roads, learn the topography, learn, like, you can eliminate so much just driving around the unit for a couple of days. But yeah, you can purchase a scouting package and then have somebody be like, this is the main road through the unit. This one has the best access to these areas. Like, I know, like, when I've had scout units, for me, that's been some of the most valuable information. Is just like, drive out this highway and turn here and go up, and because you can look at your map and you can get a pretty good idea of what the main roads are, but you never know, like, some of them are shut down seasonally, some of them are really rough and rocky or might have ice on them. So it's good to be able to like get that information from somebody who knows.
Well, that's the same thing that my Utah tag. I called you up, you gave me a scouting package pretty much for, like, there's trails that were treed up and everything. Like, I would have been, honestly, if I just winged it, I would have gone up a trail that I thought was good and been lost or wasted a ton of time and effort. And where I was going, at Bend, there was like no water, really risky. So yeah, I was like, point me in the right direction, and You were like, yeah, I'd start here. It's a good place to start. And yeah, it was like, I mean, it was everything I needed. So and that's honestly that's a big point too.
Yeah, it's a good middle ground too.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, it's a good middle ground if you want to still be a do-it-yourself guy. I don't want to necessarily cough up all the money for an outfitter. You can still go make it your own hunt. You just start a little bit ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we can kind of break this down into 3 sections. So you just never been out west. You just drew a tag, your first elk tag ever. There's 3 options. You got do it completely yourself. Go scout before season if you can. If you can't, do all the research you can. E-scouting, you can call your local game wardens, try to get as much info as you can out of them of where they've seen success and how they see these animals. I mean, they're with the animals every day. So there are some guys that will share information with that. And then just calling all people on social media, try to get in with some people that you follow and live in that area and see if you can scratch anything out of them. And then you have your what you can do with Ben and get the I completely forgot what it's called. Scouting package. Get the scouting package and start there. And then the third thing is you can hire a guide and go fully guided with it. So I think there's definitely ways to do it. And it's definitely possible to do it DIY style and do it yourself, but it does take a lot of work. I think in Colorado, what is it, like 3% of hunters are successful?
Yeah.
It's low on the OTC.
Or it's like 4. Yeah, OTC it is, but I think it's like an average of 4 years before you kill your first elk on the OTC tag in Colorado, which I'm sure that's a lot of states.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely like eliminate some of that just by being prepared and doing those things like we're talking about. But what about somebody who like wants to go hunt someplace like you live, Mike, like Texas? Is it pretty much all got to be through an outfitter, or is there the same kind of opportunities for somebody who, like, I don't know, maybe meet people on social media?
I need to shoot some hogs. Everybody shoots hogs.
Yeah, so there's obviously there's outfitters, and there's so many ranches down here that we consider, or that we call them day hunt ranches. So you can it's basically like the scouting package. You pay per day. Some of them are as cheap as $100 a day, and they have feeders and stuff set up, and they're like, hey, pigs have been coming here from this time to this time, go sit at this feeder or go walk around. There's a lot of day hunts for deer. I've been on several day lease ranches for deer, and I've never been successful. I've only been to 2 different ones, but it's fun. You get to go stay in an old crappy cabin with your buddies and just go set up a pop-up blind in the deep South Texas brush and hope a deer walks out. But aside from that, there's obviously ranches that you can go on fully guided. And then we do have public land. So I've dabbled a little bit into the public land hunting here in Texas. It's not easy, just like anywhere. You got to figure it out. And I haven't taken the time to really figure it out, but there's pig and deer hunting on public land. So I think you can apply all the same rules as you can to Western hunting, just obviously a complete different terrain change and different animals that you're hunting. But we have all the same stuff you guys do, just less public land.
Well, and the thing is that I was just, as you were talking, I was thinking about it, because I'm like, oh, I think I do a DIY thing, but I kind of think that a lot of Western hunting is kind of all the same. Just like, Utah, I would hunt Utah the same way pretty much I would hunt Arizona, lots of glassing, things like that. But if I were to ever go east and like do a whitetail hunt up in a tree stand or whatever, I feel like I would 100% hire a guide. I feel like that's something that, like, and the same thing that, like, somebody coming from east, like, I mean, you got to think about, the gear is one of the biggest things when it comes to hunting, the diversity between the two, east to the west. If you don't have, the kind of glass that you need to be successful with the guns or whatever it is, like, hiring a guide may be the best route, with regard to the style of hunting and all that, because it's a lot more than just knowing where to start, because it's a lot. I would 100% a guide hunting east.
I think too, there's a lot of similarities between the South and the West. Is like our public lands down here. There may be 10. I probably have close to 50 public land sections that I can hunt around me, but there may be one that's 100 acres, and there may be one that's like 80 acres. So you're hunting these tiny blocks of land. So it's easy to rule out where the deer could be and where they couldn't be. Like they're not going to be in this open field. They're going to follow this creek bed through this 100-acre block of land. Like it's super easy to e-scout it and see, okay, well, I'm going to sit here, or hey, there's 2 trucks at the gate. I'm not going to go in there because it's 100 acres and there's already 2 trucks there. They go out to the out west, and they're hunting thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. It's like, where do you start? You can look on the map and pick out 500 places that look good where you think an elk or a deer would be. And so I think there's give and take on both of them. But yeah, hiring a guide, especially if you've never hunted, I think if you've never hunted and you want to jumpstart your hunting career, going with a guide, you're going to learn way more. You're going to learn a lot of stuff by yourself by failing, but you're going to jumpstart your hunting career if you go with a guide, and you can ask questions the whole entire hunt and gain a lot of knowledge that way.
Yep.
Yeah, another thing I think too that people don't often think about is how migratory Western big game can be across that public land. So like if you don't even understand like the basics of elevations, or you're hunting a migration unit, like you can end up in an area that has sign in it that looks great, that has like very little game in it at all. Like that stuff you hunted on the deer hunt this year, Ben, is very migratory. Like when those deer push, they're gone. So like you be on fresh deer sign and crap, and they were there like a week ago, but they're like not there anymore at all. So I think one of the things people can do as well is like find a buddy from social media. Ben, I know you talked about that a little bit, but like there's a lot of Western guys that want to go back east and hunt a whitetail, and they don't necessarily want to get fully set up, don't want to buy all the stuff. So if you can make a friend through social media and just trade them information and hunts for hunts, you know, like I know if somebody came to me and they're like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how to hunt elk out west, I don't know anything about it, but I have this cool whitetail opportunity where I'm at, I'd be down to trade that out all day. Just make a little swap.
Hit him up in the DMs.
I want to hunt whitetails.
Hey, we all do. If y'all want to, hey, we'd be down. Let's do like a East Coast whitetail hunt and give some dirty info on some elk hunts
in the hardwoods.
I've never killed a whitetail, so
yeah, that's gonna happen this year. You didn't make it this year.
Yeah.
For some reason. I don't know why.
There's no room in the van.
Too many snacks in the passenger seat.
Yeah, I missed out. I'll be there this year though.
Yeah, whitetails are what's up. They're cool.
Yeah.
When you've shot 100 of them, I guess you can feel that way.
I think you can shoot 100 in a year, and I'd still want to shoot more.
Yeah, I think Georgia, you're allowed to tag a day.
Yeah, some of those states are wild. Pennsylvania, I know, is similar.
Yep. Yeah, it's nuts.
Just wipe them out. But anything else you guys want to cover on this topic before we sign off this bad boy?
I want to talk a little bit about this year and what we have, like kind of our game plan and what we have envisioned for real. We want to bring you guys tons of content, and I'm just going to throw this out there. We didn't talk about this before or anything, but we want to try to possibly bring on some guys that want to get their hunting content out there and don't really have the means to do it. And we want to share real hunts with you guys. So not that we can't give you guys 4 hunting videos every week, and we want to give you all that. So if we can get some awesome hunts from people that have self-filmed their hunts and bring it to you guys, and we'll still be in the video per se, we'll do a Zoom call and talk through the hunt and stuff. I think it'd be really cool to show different ways that people hunt in every state, not just Texas, Arizona, and Utah. So y'all leave it in the comments if that's something that you'd be interested in seeing. I know all of us want to share hunting, and it's not possible for us to do it 3 to 4 times a week. So we're going to do what we can on podcasts and stuff, and keep grinding on that and going on our hunts together and having fun. So thanks for everybody that's subscribed.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of guys out there that probably have killer footage that don't necessarily want to go through the grind of building their own channel, you know, and I think we could help. I mean, make it a thing that benefits this channel and also benefits the people uploading videos and helping out. So it'd be kind of a cool collaboration. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have as far as videos go.
Yeah,
For sure.
Well, if we're going to go ahead and close out this segment, guys, we appreciate y'all listening. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe. And if you do have anything that you want us to talk about, drop that in the comments as well. But we really appreciate y'all, and yeah, we'll catch you on the next one that we're gonna do.
Keep it real.
Bye.
Later.